I think well, I'll kick things off. I know some folks are still piling into the room. We're going to start with a video, and then we'll make some quick introductions and jump into our panel. So here goes. Excellent. Great video. Welcome, everyone. My name is Harry Lerner, CEO of Janam Technologies, a provider of rugged mobile computers and mobile access solutions. We're thrilled to have you here for a panel discussion. I'm going to turn it over to my co-panelists for them to introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into a great discussion about contactless entry. So, Alana, why don't you please introduce yourself, and Kevin right behind that.
Thanks, Harry. Hi, I'm Alana Katayev. I'm the Vice President of Digital Ticketing Products at Ticketmaster. I've been at Ticketmaster since early 2018, leading the development and rollout of Presence and SafeTix, our cutting-edge access control platform that reduces ticket fraud and unlocks fan identity. I've been in digital product pretty much my entire career, previously at iHeartRadio and American Express, and honestly, I've really enjoyed working with Harry and the Janam team and Kevin and all of our clients across the board to really roll out products to make their access management and events really smooth and seamless. And although I did not go to the incredible Penn State, I am an avid college football fan and a proud graduate of the University of Michigan, though we have been off to a bit of a rough start this season.
Not nearly as rough as our start, but thank you very much, Alana. Thank you, Harry. My name is Kevin Kozak. I'm the Director of Ticketing for the Bryce Jordan Center. We're a 15,000-seat arena on the campus of Penn State University. I've been with Penn State since 2000, and we have been partnering with Ticketmaster for our ticketing needs since 2001. Have just watched the Ticketmaster technology go from, just hard tickets to barcoded tickets to PDF, and now the exciting new digital ticket realm that we're living in, finding that it's really making our lives a lot easier, especially when partnered with the great products of Janam.
Excellent. Thank you so much for those words. So I'll just I'll kind of tee up the discussion. But first start by saying that prior to the pandemic, we at Janam were already working with ticketing partners like Ticketmaster to reimagine access control. Several exciting technologies bring huge benefits to access, most notably, and you've heard a lot about it at this conference, advanced NFC. Many of you know is near field communication. It's present in all of our cell phones to enable tap and go entry and contactless ticketing. Now with the pandemic, these have suddenly gone from nice to have technologies to must have technologies, where remote digital contactless scanning of either barcodes or NFC is the only way that a venue can really open safely, keeps patrons, guests well separated from venue staff and vice versa. In addition, and a key point is recognizing that so many venues already deploy our rugged mobile computers for ticketing and have been happy with that solution for years. That venues right now are not in a financial position, unfortunately, to spend huge dollars on capital investment and installing expensive new hardware that runs new software on yet another computing platform with a different, often more costly support and maintenance model. we wondered whether there was maybe a way that we could enable venues to use what they already have, to deploy a system that they already have invested in. So our GT1 pedestal solution was introduced to provide venues with that flexibility, the ability to reuse their existing handheld ticket scanner to power a contactless solution. You just take your existing Janam scanner, it's already in venue, dock it in the GT1. The software and the scanning technologies that you know and love are still there. And now you have a socially distant contactless solution. It's already now being deployed broadly by sports and live events to welcome fans back. So maybe with that as a preface, Alana, perhaps you could share with us a bit more why moving forward with mobile ticketing and contactless entry is a priority for Ticketmaster.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Harry. And honestly, before COVID, we had seen such a tremendous shift to digital ticketing because of the greater intelligence that you get with mobile tickets and more control. Paper is passed hand to hand, and mobile ticketing significantly reduces that fraud and allows you to not only know who purchased the ticket, but who they've transferred or resold the ticket to, and then who actually attends the event. So having that additional information on who's actually attended the event has really allowed our clients to be able to drive greater sales through that enhanced knowledge, and really and they've been able to then provide more customized and personalized experiences to fans and giving more control to the fans. So that's been really huge. And now in this COVID world, mobile ticketing is even more critical. And for all of those reasons, of course, reducing fraud, having greater intelligence, but mostly to enable a safer entry process for our fans, for the people that work at the venues as well. Ticketmaster spent a lot of time creating a complete suite of smart event tools to really enable our clients to help event organizers manage these socially distanced events. And contactless entry is a big part of that. And so that's why that became a huge priority for us. Of course, Harry, we've had a really long-standing, wonderful partnership between Ticketmaster and Janam over the past many years. And so when you came to us and said you're working on this pedestal, it was honestly a no-brainer for us to partner with you on that. It's providing our clients a lower cost solution. It's way more flexible. And as you mentioned earlier, it's really enabling our clients to use the technology that they already have. So enabling them to do different scanning modes for different events that they have. It's extremely simple, and it's, they have the software that we've updated to provide, a really seamless experience directly for fans scanning in themselves.
Excellent. Thanks, Alana. Great to hear that. Kevin, turning to you, you have the benefit, of course, among us three of being on the front line. There's been a lot of attention, obviously, around college athletics and whether it would even be possible to host live events. Perhaps you could share some of the thought process that went behind the decision making about deploying the Janam GT1s at Penn State, and any kind of insights you might have on the installation process. What were the trade-offs that you thought about as you made those decisions and moved forward with your installation?
Well, certainly, and thank you, Harry. Overall, when COVID started breaking out, our ticketing and events teams at Penn State, we realized the long-term effects that something like COVID could have. And, even thinking further ahead, that even if we get COVID under control, what's going to come next? Is there another virus out there that could potentially have a similar impact? So from a live event standpoint, each of the departments really reviewed operations overall and found what were the protocols that we need to revise in order to welcome our guests back safely into this new environment. Penn State administration also was very concerned about any mass gatherings or events that we would have, especially as students were slated to return in August. A lot of concerns about the optics of any in-person events that we would have. So we knew that whatever we were going to do would have to have safety first and foremost, and really follow the guidelines from state and local officials, making sure that we're taking into account the most recent info from the CDC in our decision-making process. So obvious best practices, which I'm sure have been discussed on many other panels today, implementing the social distancing, the enhanced cleaning protocols, And of course, reducing those touch points. So when we're looking at reducing touch points, the digital ticket was a no-brainer. So Ticketmaster, with our history with them, that was an easy, no-cost solution right there, just moving to a digital ticket. And then, we heard about the Janam pedestals coming out. That, as you'd mentioned, a great cost-effective solution. It's using existing hardware that we already have in place. So it seemed like the most fiscally responsible move to make on the university's end in terms of getting people back into the building. When we received them, the units themselves, they're just about put together when they're shipped to you. There's not a lot that's involved in the actual installation. Basically, you're just kind of unfolding the neck, putting 2 screws in, and then inserting a wheeled tray into the base of the units, and those things are ready to go. Extremely simple to put together, get in place, and really get up and running. And, big kudos to Ticketmaster as well. Their product support team, always willing to step in and help when needed. But the reality is, with Ticketmaster One's platform and entry, most venue managers, ticketing folks, event folks are going to be able to figure this out on their own without a lot of assistance from Ticketmaster. There's really not a whole lot of heavy lifting involved in this.
Excellent. Great feedback and good to hear. So Kevin, sticking with you for the moment, your first home game was on the 30th. And a home game meaning you held an in-person socially distanced viewing party for more than 600 students, which is amazing. Would love to hear how, actually from both of you, how it went from both of your sides. Maybe you could give a bit of a recap. And, what are the learnings that you're achieving? Welcome fans back with perhaps I could start with you, Alana, and then Kevin, you could chime in with your observations as well. Oops. Alana, you're muted, if you can hear me. Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Nope.
I was like, Kevin will probably have the more exciting things to say, but it's been such a pleasure, honestly, working with Kevin and Janam and the rest of the Penn State folks to bring the pedestals to fans for the very first time. We've been working on this on the product side for the past few months, and it was just so incredible seeing it come to life, seeing people, fans scanning in themselves, easily understanding the messaging that we have on the scanner, super simple, very seamless. It was honestly incredible to see. It's been such a pleasure. And, Kevin mentioned, we on the Ticketmaster side try to do whatever we can to provide the right support and the right resources to our clients. Ticketmaster, the support folks are always there to help with however we can, but our real goal is to be able to empower our clients with the right products, with the right tools, with the right resources, and and the right support to really run their own events with confidence and seamlessly. And we're just here to cheer them on.
That's great, Kevin.
And when we talk about the day of event operations, for starters, the staff training on these units is very minimal. You're basically taking ticket takers or more importantly, the ticket taker supervisors, and just having them focus on the LED lights on the pedestals themselves. And they know if they see a red light that they need to step over and help the customer. Our traditional ticket takers, what we ended up doing was essentially redeploying them more toward the head of the line or the entry point for the facility, so that they could work with our customers as they were coming in and instructing them on how to load their mobile ticket onto their device or add it to their Apple Wallet or Google Pay. And that's not to say we didn't do a lot of advanced communication with our fans. Anyone who received a ticket, we made sure to send them instructions, walk them through all the steps that they needed to do to really have that ticket ready to go for entry. And, for the most part, those students and those guests really stepped up to the plate. They were ready. They were good to go. From an operations standpoint, the one thing that we did find extremely beneficial was for those who hadn't gotten their ticket ready in advance, we just created some signage. We had a QR code that would link them directly to their events page. So they just hit that QR code, log into their master account, and then their event is ready to go and get scanned. One of the most surprising takeaways, though, from this event was in all of our preparations and changes for procedures, we had talked about the concept of timed entry and trying to get those folks staggered in so that we could safely load them into the venue. We did implement a timed entry for this event, and the surprising thing was just how willing those patrons were actually following those instructions and showing up at their proper gate time. It kind of gave me confidence that as we're ready to start rolling out more live events and start getting guests back into the building, that they understand the importance of following these procedures, following these protocols, and getting back to events safely. So that was pleasant to see.
Very cool observation. Yeah, I think I have time for we have time for one more quick one. But when we designed GT1, Kevin, this is to you really. We designed it with high brightness LEDs and sound and others to be super visible, highly modular, very flexible, and very mobile. The head of the unit itself can also be purchased separately and even more cost advantageously and mounted on a wall, for example, for suite entry, or put on the table stand for an alternate entry modality. Is this something that you foresee as you kind of look at internal and external usages of these things? Is this something that you think might be interesting to folks and another way to put contactless into the venue?
Oh, most definitely. If nothing else, just verifying entry with a secondary scan into those specialty areas, your suites, your clubs. Really a great way of tracking, also the ins and outs and seeing which of your patrons on a season-long basis are taking advantage of their tickets. And who knows, down the road, if it's possible that maybe there's some kind of API that can be designed that would maybe interface with a lock mechanism to allow access. Really with the advances in technology and just seeing how far Ticketmaster and Janam and, where we are with ticketed entry these days, I really do think the sky's the limit and opportunities are out there for really taking this product and taking it up to the next level.
That's great. Excellent input. And we actually left a USB port in that head unit for exactly that purpose. So we'll be able to fire off all sorts of things and connect to many other things. So that'd be great. And actually, it looks like I do have a little more time. So Alana, I get to throw one at you. But I have to say, speak on behalf of many people, probably for Kevin as well. It's kind of been stunning to see how quickly an enormous company like Ticketmaster has moved to repurpose your existing winning ticketing software for the pedestal. Maybe you could share some insights for other people who are part of large organizations trying to get them to move the ship. What's the secret to your company's ability and to your team's ability to move so swiftly?
Yeah, no, thanks for the question. And thank you for that wonderful compliment to the team. We have incredible people on the team on the product and engineering side who are so committed to Ticketmaster, to this cause. And, it's also the relationship, Harry, that we have with you and your team. I mean, the cool thing is that it's not like, client or, kind of relationship, but we're actually partners. We feel like we're part of the same team. We have multiple meetings a week across the board to talk about the hardware, the software, the different libraries, what's working, what's not, to work through issues. And both sides have been so committed to really functioning as one team. And I think that's really the reason that it worked so well and went so quickly. And with that, and then the team being really dedicated to, understanding the entry experience and really optimizing that for fans, right? Because before it was really optimized for the ushers that were holding the scanners, but we've been able to develop another mode that really focuses on messaging to the fans. And with your team's support and people like Kevin and our other clients using this and, getting the feedback along the way has just been really incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're a fast moving technology company. Both of you have moved like lightning. So it's really been a pleasure from our perspective as well. With that, I see we're bumping up against the time, so I'd like to first thank you, Alana and Kevin, for your time and your insights today. I'd like to thank the audience for joining us. These are definitely challenging times, but as you can see, we as a team collectively are very much focused on helping you navigate through these challenges. Hopefully there's some good news in Q1 of next year for many of us. If you have questions about anything that you've heard on this session, regarding hardware or software or best practices, all three of us are available, for you to ask questions in the chat on the side. But we really appreciate your time today, and thanks so much. So we're here if you need us. Ping us if you need anything. And I guess with that, my guess is I'm supposed to close this, and since I have no idea how to do that, stare at the camera.
Well, thank you, Harry, and thank you, Alana. Just taking a look at the chat, I noticed there was a question here that I can address. Katie Beavers had reached out and asked, how did we assist guests that did not have smartphones? We did have a box office open in place, and actually all of our guests were primarily college-age students, so smartphones weren't so much the issue. We did run into an issue, though, with a student who had a shattered screen. And when she came over to the box office, we simply looked up her account, and that was the one hard ticket that we did print out and got scanned through that pedestal. So, it's great to have the technology, but there's always that fallback as well in case you need it.
Right. Good to know. Thank you for that. Okay, great. So I guess at this point, I'm not sure if we're supposed to leave. But I know the next session is in 8 minutes. We're 2 minutes in, and there's Danny to tell me what to do.
You can just hit the leave button, and anybody that wants to connect with you can simply chat and direct message you.
Perfect. I hate to leave everyone, but here goes.
We do. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harold.